My name is Alessandra Diaz, and I'm going to be doing the presentation today. So we're going to be talking about our solar solutions and 4G LTE here of some of our products, and we're going to be showing you everything that we have that it's going to cover that part. So give me 1 second. Right here. So this is just a little demonstration of one of the panels that we have with some of the 4G LTE products. So we always find some customers that have those places that it's just really hard to get some wires and electricity, and becomes very expensive, and labor goes out of hand. And so and those places that were customers required to have some cameras that they want to be able to view and like, for example, in those pictures in there that we have, there's a park or there's a gated community where, it's just impossible sometimes to get some wirings out there. Our solar solutions will come into play in these cases, and they will give you a very clean installation, and, using solar energy that is also good for our environment. And so we have a couple of models here of our solar solutions. This is our first model. This is our TDSV35. This is our single panel unit. It comes all in one box. It comes, with the panel. The battery pack is inside that bracket where you see right there the Toughdog word. That's the bracket of the panel, and the battery is right there inside that. This unit is, it develops 12 volt DC, and this is the most common power that we have in all of our cameras. So if you were going to use one of the 4G LTE cameras, the panel, the bracket and the battery comes out with a pigtail where you would just have to plug in the camera and you'd be good to go. And also another way of using it is if you don't necessarily need to go with the 4G LTE camera, it can also be used with our point-to-point wireless antennas, which are one of the models that we have. It's also a 12 volt DC, so it's perfect to be used with these panels. This is pretty much how the single panel would look like already installed. And talking a little bit of what it is, as you can see, is the panel right here. And it's a 60 watt solar single panel. It's got, again, the bracket where the lithium battery goes right inside. It's got an on-off operation switch. And right here, we have it set up with the wireless antennas, which was the one that I was mentioning earlier. This right here, this rectangle unit is our 12 volt DC and model, which is a TDP2PX. It's a power control unit. And so basically this unit, the on-off operation switch comes in very handy when you go out there and do your installation. And then maybe you decide to move it into another pole or into another location. You just go in and turn off your switch, and you can just grab the entire unit and move it into, the other place where you want to set it up. Also, maybe there's a case where, there might be a construction site and you were able to set this up, and then once the construction's over, you just want to grab your unit and take it into another project. That's also doable because of that on-off operation switch. Really, you don't have to do much of an assembly with this panel, as it comes already integrated with the bracket. It's just, the matter of setting up your camera and your antenna. and obviously depending on the situation that you're looking at with your customers.
Yeah, and just one more thing there on that slide, if you allow me.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to put the camera right there on the solar panel bracket or the antenna. So the bracket of the solar solution comes ready so that you can mount a junction box. Right there, just hide the connections from the antenna and the camera, or you know, just you know, put it right there. But if you don't want to put it there, like let's say for instance you're in a certain place where the antenna needs to go higher up or elsewhere, then you could just run that 12-volt DC power and then your Cat5 or Cat6 cable that will connect to the camera, run it elsewhere where you want to put the radio or the camera and mount it. Again, you know, the solar solution is just going to provide the power to your devices. Now, another thing to keep in mind as well is the fact that the panels, they need to be mounted south towards, you know, southbound. So, so that they can capture the most sun throughout the year, okay? So by mounting them south, sometimes your equipment, you know, needs to be looking north. And that's why, you know, you just have to run your wire and aim your camera, aim your camera northbound so that you can cover whatever it is that you need to cover. But the panel needs to be facing south. So again, this illustration here shows everything mounted on the solar solution, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, okay? So that's what I wanted to say. Go ahead, Ali.
Yeah, so basically this is just, you know, for illustration purposes. This is, you know, one way that we actually created the setup, and obviously, you know, it'll always vary depending on, like Jorge said, depending on where your cameras have to be pointing towards and the antenna as well, where it's gonna find the free line of sight with the other unit that it's gonna be on your main building feeding this unit itself. And so, okay, going into our double panel, this is our model TDSV80. This is our double panel. So this unit comes in 2 boxes, and it's very easy to assemble. It's also a 12-volt DC unit. This unit, since it requires a bigger battery pack, the battery pack is going to be out on the side. As you can see there in the illustration, it's going to be located on the right side of the bracket. And because this unit can give you power for more than one camera, it comes with a NEMA box that we always suggest to put on the opposite side of the battery. And this is going to be obviously the place where you're going to put all your connections and your cablings. Because it's more than one camera, you're always going to be requiring a network switch. And this is going to be also a 12-volt DC network switch that we also have available, and that way you would be able to put everything inside that NEMA box to cover, you know, all your connections and your switches and everything that you have to be enclosed in there. And this is basically here how the panels look. And this unit also comes with an on and off operation switch. So if the case is that you need to move it somewhere else, you can always turn off your switch and take it back or take it to the other location that you're looking into as our very first unit. Here is illustrating here as well that the battery pack is right there on the side. This unit has 2 60-watt solar panels. So the single unit was 1 unit of 60 watts. This is a double unit, and it also comes with its power, the control power unit. All right, and so
things, Ale, to mention on that unit is that all connections from the battery that you see there. If you want to go up one slide.
Yeah.
All connections come from the bottom of that little kind of copper looking box, that's your battery. So that battery is going to have the switch and the connections, the power connections coming out from the bottom. So with that, normally what we do is, since we supply that NEMA box for connections, is that we suggest that NEMA box to be back to back with that battery pack, which means that it'll be mounted on the opposite side of the bracket, right? Still underneath the solar power, the solar panels, and with that, the only thing that you have to do is pretty much just bring those cables into that NEMA box, and then just keep, again, your connections inside of that protected box. So again, just trying to hide as much as possible the cabling and avoiding the water to filter into either of these boxes. Okay, go ahead, Ali.
Mm-hmm. All right, so moving on, one of the first options to use with the panels is our 4G LTE cameras. So we have two different models, and this is going to be the very first one. This is our TDOB IS 24034G. So this is a 2 megapixel bullet. It's got H.265 and H.264 dual streaming code. It gives you 25 to 30 frames per second at 2 megapixels. It's got a micro SD card slot of up to 256 gigabytes. And that means obviously that, it would make it a complete standalone unit where, you can insert your SIM card or, your SD card and, pretty much just be good to go. This is a 3.6 millimeter fixed length, and it gives you the IR length of 120 feet. Moving on to our second 4G LTE camera, this is going to be our first PTZ that is a cellular camera. The model of this one is our TDPTC 4MP25IRS-4G. This is a 4 megapixel PTC. This PTC supports 4G. It's got a 25 times zoom. Got Starlight technology, gives you 25 to 30 frames per second at 4 megapixels, which is absolutely amazing. Supports PoE, and it gives you about 350 feet on the IR distance. These units are, absolutely amazing. Both of them, again, comes with their SD card slot and their SIM card slot. The provider that we have been using and that we know that works 100% sure is T-Mobile. We are working towards getting Verizon and AT&T to start working with our cameras, but that's just been taking a little longer than we expected. So the carrier that we recommend for you to use is T-Mobile, because this is the one that we have done all of our testings, and we know that will work, perfectly fine. It'll be just a matter of looking for the coverage area where you're going to be installing your unit, and that's basically it. We have a few plans that we could help you and provide you if you decide, to run the T-Mobile part with us, and we can always, guide you on that area. This is going to be,
sorry. So,
can you hear me?
Yeah, no.
Fine.
We hear you well. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. So,
okay. That's fine.
One of the things that I wanted to mention also is the fact that once you have these particular 4G LTE cameras, that's basically all you need. As you said it before, Ale, this makes it a unique bundle, right? That that precisely allows you to do it all right there. Now, a lot of questions that we get from customers is, so once we have the SD card in the camera, do we have to pull it out for to review recordings? And the answer for that is no. The SD card will function as any other like your regular hard drive from your NVR or DVR. it'll override itself, you know, once the limit it's being achieved, or it's being you know, once the card is being fulfilled, it'll start erasing the last videos or the oldest videos, so that you can always have certain amount of time there. Now, the beauty of the PTC2 is that, you know, it's got some AI, and I am assuming too that some of these cameras are going to start coming in with the AI, which is the smart motion detection. So that'll allow your camera, your recordings to last a lot longer. Overall, you could use this camera like if you're accessing your NVR or your DVR by you know, pressing on playback on the phone app. You can retrieve video from the cameras directly without having to pull out the SD card or anything. So great, you know, easy systems. As Alejandra said, right now the only carrier that we're fully working with is T-Mobile, but we will certainly be bringing Verizon and AT&T. Negotiations with them are on the table, and we're trying to make these happen for you guys. So, but T-Mobile is fully functional right now. So also one of the things to consider too is when you're about to be deploying these devices, make sure you can go to T-Mobile website and see the coverage area. Make sure that that T-Mobile has coverage in the area where you would like to deploy these units, okay? So that you can guarantee that they're gonna work. That'll be just a little advice. Okay, Ali, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and one good thing to know is that, I mean, like Jorge just said right now, if you're going to be using any of those two cameras, you will pretty much have a complete solution, because the panels, as you saw, it actually comes with a pigtail that it's ready for, you know, to push out 12 volt DC. So basically you would just have to plug in the camera and you'll be good to go. So this next unit that we have right here, it's our wireless router. So this unit will be used when you have that remote location that can give you, that actually has more than one camera. So for that, you would have to have this wireless router. You know, it's a great solution because it allows you to connect the rest of your cameras via Wi-Fi, and you know, it's just, you wouldn't need two 4G LTE cameras, but you know, 2 or maybe 3 if the panel allows regular IP cameras to connect to this wireless router. And you know, it's just an absolutely amazing option for you to have as well. So here we're going to show you basically what is the way to do all the calculations of how many cameras can be used on each of. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to keep on interrupting, but I don't want you guys to be missing important information here too. So on the router, the outdoor wireless router, that is actually, you know, we want to sell it for the use of our cameras, so that you can connect any camera system to this wireless router, 4G LTE, so that you can get internet signal and you can access your camera. But this is actually a Wi-Fi router. So if you don't connect it to the cameras, you know, this could be connected to you know, cell phones or laptops or anything else that connects via Wi-Fi and get internet access. Another good use of this router or this Wi-Fi is that let's say you have this router connected to your camera system, but sometimes to review recordings, you don't want to do it through your 4G LTE data because you don't want to soak it all up. So what you do is you can go nearby the router, connect to the Wi-Fi LAN, and then just have access to your cameras and then download as much video as you can or as you want without having to use your 4G LTE data. So that's another cool thing, because that way, you know, you don't need to climb the ladder to connect to the router to access it locally. And even if you need to troubleshoot some of the devices, the IPs, or you know, do some network configuration on it, you could just get close to the Wi-Fi router, connect wirelessly to the unit, and then just have access to your cameras, recorders, or any of the devices on your LAN that you want to get access to. So just keep in mind that that Wi-Fi comes in really handy for us, you know, for the installers. Now to you, Ale.
Yeah. Great information here. So going back to where we're going to show you how do we calculate the amount of cameras that each of the panels can handle. So like we said earlier, our single panel, it's a 300 watt unit, and a double is a 600 watt unit. How do we found that? We always try to go and get the sunlight on the day that will give you the least sun daylight. So that's why we always we always try not to exceed the 300 watts on the single panel and the 600 watt on the double panel. So for example, here's one situation for one camera using the TDP2PX. This is thinking, let's say you have one place where you have a main building where you're going to be sending the data to the solar unit. So here, this camera requires 7.2 watts per hour. So basically, we multiply it by 24 to get the full amount of wattage that this camera is going to be using through the day. We do the same with the TDP2PX antenna. These units don't require that much wattage through the day. As you can see here, it only requires 3 watts. So multiplying it by 24 hours, it'll give us a total of 72 watts per day. So adding them up here with the 172.8 plus the 72, we get a total of 245 watts per day. So we know with these that these 2 units would be perfectly fine for a single unit. And this is another scenario. You want to use a 4G LTE camera. Well, the bullet requires 9.5 watts per hour. So that will give you a total of 228 watts per day. That is absolutely also great to be used with our single panel because we are below the 300 watts. Obviously, you know, considering the situation on the single panel, this would be the only 2 solutions to be used with their single panel. You know, with the 4G LTE camera, we know that we don't require any more equipment. So this is just absolutely perfect. And this is another situation here that would, of course, go with the double panel. Our double panels, as we mentioned before, are capable of giving more power so they can handle more equipment. So for example, here we have our first 2 cameras that require 7.2 watts per hour, giving us a total of 345 watts per day for those 2 cameras. Those 2 cameras require 7.2. The one below requires 3.7. Why so much different is because the second camera, the one on the bottom, is a camera that has no IRs. Is one of our full color cameras. So if you are in an area where there's some light, this camera comes in very handy, and because it requires not so much, you know, wattage through the day. That one would give us 88.8 watts through the entire day. For this situation, because you're using more than one camera, here's where the network switch that I talked about a little while ago would be needed. And so this is a 12 volt DC switch as well that requires 2.1 watts per hour, giving you a total of 50.4 watts through the day. And of course, you would also need here your wireless antenna that gives 72 watts through the day. So adding it all up, give me 1 second because my screen here All right. So if we add this all up, we get a total of 556.8 watts through the day. So we know that this is absolutely perfect to be used with our double panel.
Right.
And the second,
one of the things here, sorry, I don't want to be very redundant on these, but a lot of people get confused with whenever they have the double panel and they use more than one camera. They have in mind the fact that they need to power the cameras using a PoE connection. But then again, the majority of our cameras are 12 volt DC, and this is actually the differentiation when you're using the solar panels. You are wanting to power the cameras with the 12 volt DC power that's coming out of the solar panel. So you're gonna split that 12 volt DC, and you're gonna connect it directly to all these devices. You're gonna connect 12 volt DC to each of these cameras. You're gonna connect 12 volt DC to this switch, and you're gonna connect 12 volt DC to that radio, right? So with that, you're gonna be powering all devices with the 12 volt DC, not with the PoE switch. So this is not a PoE switch. This is just a regular 12 volt DC switch. Actually, not very easy to find, but we do have it available in case that you have an installation and you're required to have that. So also, this is another reason why you saw that when Alejandra was talking about the TDSB80, that we offered that NEMA box, exactly this is the reason why, so that you can fit this switch, this 5-port switch, and you can connect all your devices in there inside of that NEMA box, okay? But then again, keep in mind, this is not a PoE switch. This is a regular switch, and all these devices that you see right there in that picture are going to be powered via 12 volt DC from the solar panel, okay? So again, no need of inverters, no need of anything else. That's why we have made our panels 12 volts DC. Okay.
Yeah, and it's absolutely great to be able just to power everything there through the panel. So, and moving on here to the second situation. So this is our 4G LTE PTZ camera. This camera requires a lot more power. As you can see in there, requires about 21 watts per hour. So if you multiply that by 24, it gives you 504 watts per day. So that's basically, it would basically be the only unit that you'll be able to use with the double panel. But it's, it's a complete solution in there because it's a 4G LTE PTZ camera that you can just power through directly. And, it's just a perfect unit for the double panels. And then we are going to be moving on to our TDMTT. This unit, it's a much more powerful unit. It's a more robust unit. It's a mobile unit that can be customized depending on what you're looking into do or what your customer is requiring. This system can be, equipped with sirens and strobes and radios and the 4G LTE service and, different type of cameras. You can use PTZ cameras, panoramic cameras. Like I said, it's much more of a customized unit that we have. This tower can also be available with NDAA approved surveillance equipment. So if this is something that you require, please let us know and we'll be more than happy to help you put something like this together. Just to show you a little bit here on what it has, it's got a 30-foot electric mast. It's got an 800 amp 12 volt DC gel type lead acid battery pack. It's got 3 900 watt solar panels. It's got a battery charger that it's 100 volts AC or 24 DC with 40 amps. It's got a GPS system. It's got a wind rating of 60 miles per hour. and it's made of steel with powder coat paint. So as you can see, you know, it's again, it's a much bigger unit that it's easy to deploy here and there. You can, you know, just hook it up into your car, your truck, and pull it very easy. I'll show you here on the following slide here that it pretty much shows you everything that I just said, and right here that it's got a very easy access towing system. It's got the electric mast right here so that you can move it up and down for, you know, to move it around easier. The solar panels, they got a sliding mechanism. So basically it's an electric way of moving the panels up and down and out to the sides, so that, you know, you basically open one of the little doors on the sides and you can operate it there, so that you can put them down and in when you're going to be moving the unit. And then, you know, once you get to your specific location, you can start moving them up and, you know, pulling the two panels out.
Yeah, the actual solar panels are, you will slide them in and out manually, but they will run very smoothly, and it's actually very easy to do. Again, guys, this is made to simplify the job of deploying these units. From, you know, just having the actual front wheel so that you could lift it up by cranking it, you know, you lift it up or pull it, lift it up or push it down so that you could drag the unit easily or move it sideways. Once you get to the desired location, then you could also use the handbrake to make sure that the unit doesn't move. But it also comes with additional wheel stoppers so that you could put those units, let's say in case that you put this unit on a hill or something, and you don't want it to move back, then you use the wheel stoppers just so that you can set it up. The handbrake is also going to help a lot. And then you stabilize the unit with the stability legs that is got around it, right? Very easy to pull out, very easy to you know, roll down. And then that unit also comes with a visual level gauge that will tell you whether the unit is, you know, leveled or if it needs for you to be lifting it up from one side or another until you get it right. You want to make sure that that level is at its best before you actually use the or take the mast up and get the cameras up, because you don't want these to be unleveled and then just falling out. So as Alejandro was saying, the electric mask as well as the panel electric mechanism are inside that the cart. You'll find the remotes or the controllers inside of the unit. It'll be just by pressing a couple of buttons that you will tilt the panels right to the desired position. Remember also that this is a solar solution, so it's got to be facing south, and depending on the time of the year, you're going to be tilting that those panels. In December, we get a lot more inclined to receive the solar UV rays, right? So for that, maybe you want to make sure that you are going to tilt that a little bit more. And during summer, sun rays do come a lot more straight down. So maybe you don't need to tilt these as much. But by facing south, you'll make sure that you'll capture from sunrise to sunset, right? And then for the electric mast, you know, you could lift it up all the way up to 30 feet, right? So that'll make it great for the cameras to see around all the actual perimeter. And one of the important things to mention here is that we can tailor-made these for you. So normally the tower or this trailer comes with a set of cameras, right? So you will have normally a PTC and then 3 fixed lens or motorized lens cameras, right? But if your customer requires something different, like a panoramic camera or, you know, some deterrence cameras or some thermal cameras, so on and so forth, we can work with you on that and then just equip the unit accordingly. Okay, so keep that in mind. Sorry, Alec, go ahead.
That's fine. Yeah, and so yeah, basically it's like we said, it's more like a customized unit. So just show you a little bit more on this unit. This has got a secure and weatherproof storage with stainless steel locking mechanism. This is where you're gonna find all the controllers, like Jorge was saying. This is just showing here the handbrake unit for parking. What he was mentioning, that, you know, when you get to your destination and you already use the wheel stoppers, but you also want to use that handbrake unit, you know, just to be extra safe that your cart's not going to be moving down, or, you know, if you're like in a small uphill, to be like going backwards or, you know, forward, or whatever the case is. The unit also comes with stop, turn, and reverse tail lights. So when you're moving it around town, you know, this comes in very handy as well. And one good thing about this is that it is available. We do have some units there ready to be deployed. So
Nice.
if you are working on a project, please let us know and we'll be happy to help you out, you know, talking about our leasing programs and, you know, pricing for those units. But they are available. We try to keep, you know, about at least 10 of them in stock, you know, for, you know, to have them ready for you guys. So any questions or interest in this unit, please let us know. You can reach out to me or whoever your sales rep is, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you a little bit more about this unit. And this is one last thing that we have here. It just shows you, you know, some applications for any of the solar solutions that we talked about. You know, they can be used, you know, in parking lots, oil rigs, construction sites, government facilities, isolated communities, pretty much, you know, whatever the situation is. And if you're not sure what would be the best option for you and your customer, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you, you know, with the design and, you know, with guiding you on which would be the best equipment for your application for you or your customer. And then one last thing I want to talk about before we move on to the Q&A. If you guys, go ahead.
Before we go there, let me just go back for a little bit, one slide.
Yeah.
So guys,
right there.
It is important for us to let you know that we do have the option for the NDAA approved equipment, okay? So if you do require this unit to come with NDAA approved, if you are approaching government entities to sell this unit, talk to us. We'll make sure that we fit it with compliant equipment, okay? So so that we can make sure that we don't let those contracts pass by or go somewhere else. So we can definitely feed this unit with government, NDAA approved product, okay? So as Alejandra said, talk to any of your sales representatives. They should actually have more information about that.
Definitely. All right, so going back into our sweepstakes, many of you should already be aware of what we're doing. We started issuing some tickets for these prices right here. These are going to be some very amazing prizes that you can win. The final raffle will be on December 22nd, and you can be accumulating your tickets with your purchases. So same thing, you can ask your sales rep on how to participate and how your purchases can get you tickets to get to that raffle and to get one of those amazing prizes in your hands. So we really encourage you to come in and make your purchases and, you know, inquire a little bit more on how you can get your tickets. Like it says right there, every invoice that it's above $500 will get you one ticket. You cannot accumulate, let's say you have one invoice of $300 and then another one of $500, that will not give you a ticket. But if you have one invoice of over $1,500, you could get 3 tickets. So I think it's a very cool amount of prizes in there. So we really hope that you guys participate and get one of these for your home or maybe your office.
Yeah.
And yeah.
One of the things too there is that we're going to be having tickets. I'm sure that if you're buying through distributors, you will have, you know, I'm sure that your sales rep there and your distributor may have told you about these. They'll give you tickets. We're going to have some different raffles for different distributor houses and for different regions. So what we want is we want to make sure that you get more chances to win. So it's not just a single for all Toughdog customers or regions or distributors. So each of the distributors that we work with will have the opportunity to raffle these products. So yeah, you know, pretty cool Christmas presents. So
yeah,
the more you buy, the more chances you get to participate. So awesome. All right, Ale. Well, that
definitely.
was a good job. Thank you so much for helping us out and for giving this very important information for the presentation. Now let's just open up some time for Q's and A's. Let's see if any of the guys here in the room have some questions so that we can answer them.
Yeah, definitely. If you have any questions regarding the information, or maybe you have a situation where, you know, you have a customer that might have asked you of you know, a remote location, bring it on.
No, espérame. No.
All good? No questions? Well, if you would like to get a question also typed in, then remember we have the chat. But if there are no questions, guys, please again feel free. This is not over totally. Please feel free to contact any of your sales reps. Ask them all the questions that you may need whenever the time comes. And if you know, we will make sure that you'll have the answer that you're looking for. Okay, but if that's it, then you know, let's end this presentation today. Again, thank you, Ale, for helping out, and thank you everyone for showing up. And also remember that, as Alejandra said in the beginning, this presentation is being recorded and it'll be available on our YouTube channel. So if you need these for training purposes or to show it to somebody else, please go ahead and have a look at our YouTube channel and you'll find it there. All right. Okay. Well, Ali, thank you again. And thanks everybody. And we will be meeting soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wish you all have a great rest of the day and a good weekend.